As the leader of the free world, the President of the United States must travel to diverse locations, both at home and around the world. A unique Boeing jumbo jet, known as Air Force One, is usually how the President gets around. For shorter distances, he uses Marine One, a Lockheed Martin helicopter. But it wasn't always this way. Before airplanes became our most popular means of transportation, railroads were the #1 way folks traveled from one place to another. Many presidents rode on trains, starting with Andrew Jackson way back in 1833. In 1942, during World War II, a special railroad car was designed for presidential travel. An observation car named the Ferdinand Magellan was selected for this honor. Armor plating, bulletproof glass, and other reinforcements were added to make the car safe. The interior included plush seating in a comfortable sitting room. A large conference room and sleeping quarters. In 1943, the Ferdinand Magellan, designated U.S. #1, was ready for President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. FDR used the car extensively, traveling over 50,000 miles. When FDR died in 1945, Harry S. Truman became president. President Truman used the Ferdinand Magellan more than any other president. During the presidential campaign of 1948, President Truman's popularity had slipped and he was the underdog. He decided to take his campaign directly to the people. So he boarded the train and traveled from town to town, giving fiery campaign speeches from the rear platform of the Ferdinand Magellan. Enthusiastic crowds greeted him at every stop. The Whistle Stop Tour was a success. President Truman won the election in a photo finish. When Dwight D. Eisenhower succeeded Truman as president, the Ferdinand Magellan was put on a siding and not used very much. It was soon decommissioned and acquired in 1959 by the Gold Coast Railroad Museum in Miami-Dade County, Florida. In 1984, the museum offered President Ronald Reagan the opportunity to use the presidential railcar during his re-election campaign. President Reagan accepted the invitation, and on October 12th, he boarded the Ferdinand Magellan for a one-day whistle-stop tour through Ohio. President Reagan was the last U.S. president to use Ferdinand Magellan.
You know, in this job I have, you get to meet some important people like kings and queens and heads of state and prime ministers and so forth. But I've always said the best part of the job is remembering that George Bush and I are working for you and nobody else. It's fitting that we're campaigning today on Harry Truman's train. And we're following the same route he took 36 years and 1 day ago. And you know, I have to say, all over the country in meetings of this kind, I have been so thrilled and excited to see the turnout of young people at meetings of this kind.
After his campaign trip, the car was returned to the Gold Coast Railroad Museum, where it is still on display. Today, when you think about presidential travel, you think of Air Force One. But before this impressive jet airplane, there was the Ferdinand Magellan, designated U.S. number 1, the presidential rail car.
Hey, how about lunch at the Choo Choo? They have great cheeseburgers, fries, old-fashioned shakes, and oh yes, the food is delivered on a Lionel train. The Choo Choo restaurant, or Burgers on Wheels, is located in Des Plaines, Illinois, a suburb about 20 miles northwest of Chicago. The decor is reminiscent of a 1950s diner. Owner Jean Paxton tells how she got involved.
My son, who's now 19, when he was little, was obsessed with trains. Somebody told us about this restaurant, so we would bring him here. And I would joke with the previous owners, if they ever wanted to sell it, I would love to own it. And I also wrote it down on my list of things I wanted in my life. And 4 years later, I had the key to the restaurant.
The Choo Choo opened in 1951 with standard gauge trains. Jim's brother had opened a similar restaurant in Skokie, Illinois, a few miles away. Then Jim and Marilyn opened at this location in April 1951. Joey Piscitello, a train guy, keeps the trains in good running condition.
Variety of post-war Lionel and MPC Lionel. They're bulletproof for the most part. She's got the Santa Fe FM Trainmaster, which is a MPC era twin motor. She does have a schedule to run and rotate her diesel. She also has some steamers that she runs. But since she's the boss, she's the engineer, she can run whatever she wants, whenever she wants. Lionel was making them to run maybe 10 hours every so often. She's running them 8 to 10 hours a day, every day.
If it's your birthday, the Choo Choo makes a big deal of it. Everyone sings happy birthday along with the record. They ring the whistle, and the train delivers cupcakes.
You know, before we opened at 10:30, there is a line down the sidewalk.
The Choo Choo is busiest when school's out and the kids want to see their burgers and fries delivered by a Lionel train.
And the nice thing about the Choo Choo, it's become a destination. Where people actually plan to go to the Choo Choo.
There are rules, especially when the restaurant is busy.
To eat it once the food arrives. It's Choo Choo your food and move your caboose. I'm still amazed that I have the keys to the Choo Choo.